I'm fixing it. I'm filming it. Well, we have a 2006 Honda Rancher ES and we can pull start it, but it does not want to engage the starter. And gear, neutral, and this is the starter. I can hear the solenoid engage. Let's get that fancy seat off. Where's the solenoid? Okay, here's the solenoid. Right here. So let's check out the battery, make sure my tester is working good. Okay, yes, I do have a red LED. If I reverse it on this tester, it'll show green. Yeah, so then you know things are... Okay, so let's hold that here. Okay, red. So I should have one going to the solenoid. So that means it's coming to one side of the solenoid. Let's see if it goes to the other side of the solenoid when I activate it. Yes, so we know the solenoid's working. So now we got to go to the starter and make sure connection power is going to the starter. Take this air box out. Then we can get right down to the starter and take a look at it. So we have to take this off. This is the intake air. We got to take that clamp off, and we're going to have to loosen off the carburetor. The air going into the carburetor, we got to loosen that off, and then this breather hose, we'll just disconnect it here. And it's just a little spring there. And then that should come out. Maybe we take this. And we took that one off. Maybe it'll help flex this a little bit. Heck. Looks like it was missing a screw, a bolt hole. Where would that have connected to? It looks like I wasn't the first one replacing it. So now there is a starter. And connection is good, just one wire going to it. We'll see if we're getting the voltage wire from the solenoid. Okay, so here's the starter, just one wire going to it, and we've already tested what power is going to the solenoid, and when you activate the starter switch, the solenoid sends power to the other side. So now let's make sure we're getting power to here. So we turn this on. Do we get power to the starter? Yes, we do. We get a red light, so that tells me power is going to the starter. So we have a starter problem. What do you think? Should we try to take it apart and see before we go and buy one? Yes, let's take it apart. It's not that hard. Looks like a couple of bolts. But first things first, why don't we disconnect the power from the battery before I disconnect that? Well, first things first, let's disconnect the power from the battery. Making sure you don't touch anything. You're on the positive post. Okay, we should have no power. Let's double check. Okay, I turned on the ignition, no power. Okay, let's get to that starter. So I've disconnected the battery, so now we can disconnect this here. That looks like, again, another 10 mil. Okay, it looks like there's 2 bolts on that starter. One here and one underneath. And it's 10 mil. By George it is. Everything is 10 mil on this. Okay, that came from that side. Where's the one underneath? Right here. Okay, whoop, this one's got a bit of a bracket. That starter's in there pretty good. It's loose. Okay, well, all else fails, get a pry bar. Just gently. There we go, it's just tight. There. There we go, that's what that looks like. Okay, it turns. Well, should we take it apart and see what's wrong with it? May as well. I can't make it any worse. Hey, first things first, let's kind of just get this blown off, and why don't we put a mark on here so we know how to put it back together. Something simple here. There, at least we'll know how it goes back together. 7. Well, that kind of sucks. I have to get another socket. Everything else was 10 mil, but this is 7. Okay, that came out pretty nice. Looks like a little bit of a seal, a gasket there. No real. Oh yeah, there's that little seal. So now this should just separate. Okay, let's take this part off. Don't bugger up the seal here. Well, let's just take it off and get it out of the way. We'll get that nice and cleaned again. This doesn't want to give up too easy. How come? Oh, of course there'll be brushes there. Oh, what does that look like there? Something is broken. Where did that come from? Uh-huh. Okay, so let's take this apart over here. Looks like these brushes, they are stuck. And they're not rubbing against the armature here, which is my... Oh boy, look at all the pieces. There's more pieces in here. Why? Okay, there's washer here. Let's get that there. Oh, see, it looks like part of the magnet has actually blown apart. Isn't that crazy? Okay, well, I don't know if we can clean this. Well, we can definitely clean it. Let's try to clean it. But yeah, let's get a couple wrenches so I can get to this wire here and these brushes. Let's get my hands clean first. Does that fit in there? Oh yeah, there we go. So it does push. One more isolating washer. And a little seal, a little gasket. But see, yeah, these should have a little, well, that one's got a little spring to it. This one does, but it's just worn out. Yeah, so these brushes are a little worn. Look at, there's more gunk here. More magnets. So this failed because the magnet failed. Chunk of it broke off, and then, but let's get this cleaned up. Maybe it might work if once we get it all cleaned up. Actually, let's get a little Varsol and let's get that cleaned better. I'm going to get a old toothbrush. And let's get this clean. Yeah, the main brush, it's a little bit on the thin side here. Nothing I can do about that. Yeah, it's barely sticking past, so even if we got this going here, it's time for a new starter. Okay, let's get the air turned on. Blow this out. Yeah, that's even... We'll put that on the outside. Yeah, that's kind of worn. Okay, let's get this magnet blown out, and hopefully I can blow all that crap out. Okay, so basically this contact is not even touching the solenoid, so I doubt it's going to work. I put it on its side just for the... I sanded where the brushes run against. And let's see if we can get the cap on here. So I just phoned Honda in Edmonton. I won't mention their name. But $500 Canadian for this. $530. So right now we are trying to find one off of, well, someplace that's a little bit more reasonable. I don't even think my starter for my Chev truck was that much. I know it wasn't. Okay, so we got that in there. Let's see if we can get this. There we go, that's in the center now. Okay, that one went in there pretty nice. Let's get one bolt in there. And let's get this rubber pushed back in there. Actually had 3 isolators on here. Well, it turns a lot freely now, I can tell.
Maybe it'll work.
Okay, all back assembled. Let's put her in and cross her fingers. That one brush was barely touching the armature, so I doubt it's going to start, but at least all of the chunks are out of it. So that magnet blew up. You don't see that too often. Okay, let's get this back on the quad. And first of all, I got to lube this up with a little grease, a little oil, just so it seats. Okay, let's get this back in. Yeah, I put a little grease on that. Okay, let's tighten it up with the Honda's favorite socket, the 10mm. And I'm not going to put anything on here. I don't want to really start it. I'm just going to see if it'll turn over. So I'm going to hook up the battery. And let's see if it'll start. Okay. Let's see what this will do. There we go. I don't know how long it's going to last with the way those brushes are, but I'm pretty sure if you just replace those brushes, that's all you need to do. Anyways, I'm going to put the airbox back on, but there you go. Good luck with your Honda. Okay, got this all back together. Airbox back on. Let's get this seat on. Let's give it a try. My neutral, little choke. that's it. So just a good cleaning in the starter. Get rid of all the broken magnets in there, and the brushes, they might last a little bit, but the brushes are pretty well worn out. So they're barely just touching the armature now. Good to go quadding. Anyways, good luck with your repair on your Honda.